The page after your audience participation guide, you'll see a free response question about inverse functions. This video is going to be walking through this example. So, this problem says, if a cricket chirps x times per minute, then the outside temperature is given by T equals f of x equals 1 over 4x plus 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So, super important is to recognize our variables and the units of our variables. Very important in a word problem. So we know x is representing the number of times per minute that the cricket is chirping, and our output, or our t, our f of x, is represented by degrees Fahrenheit. So off to the side here, if I said like f of x equals t, the input into this function is going to be chirps per minute, and the output is the temperature. Alright, so this is actually a real formula. If you ever hear a cricket chirping, if you count the number of chirps, you can actually use this formula to estimate pretty exactly what the temperature is outside. And this is something that farmers used to use before thermometers. So part A asks us to find a formula for the inverse function x equals f to the negative 1 of t. So to do this, I'm just going to rewrite my equation. Instead of f of x, instead of t, I'm just going to use y. So I'm going to say y equals 1 over 4x plus 40. Because I'm looking for the inverse function, I know that my inputs and my outputs are going to switch places. So inputs my x and my y are going to switch places. So I'm going to get x equals 1 over 4y plus 40, and now my goal is to isolate y. To isolate y, I'm going to start by subtracting 40 from both sides. And then to get rid of this fraction, this 1 over 4, I can actually multiply both sides by 4. So here the 4 is going to cancel out with the 4 in the denominator, and I'm just left with 1y, otherwise known as just y. Here I can distribute the 4. So I get 4x minus 160 equals y. And then if I wanted to, I could just rewrite this using the inverse function notation. So I would get the inverse function is equal to 4x minus 160. Alright, moving on